The white moonlight of the domineering CEO wife has returned, so why shouldn't I immediately launch off and run away? After all, we're in a marriage of convenience, so if I don't run, what am I staying for? To have an abusive love story, like in the young Master Yang short stories? She escapes, he chases. She can't escape, even with wings. She abuses him, he loves her. She leaves, he regrets. Bullshit. This is not a choice a Sigma male would make. Once the money is in hand, it's goodbye is goodbye. The next one will be more obedient. The ideal Yanagi Kiyomi, not pure love, wants everything. If you mind, don't watch. Akisho is back. You accompanied me to see him the day before yesterday, too. What do you think of him? He's all right. A good match for you. I definitely have to say nice things, especially at this critical moment. Yanagi Kiyomi spoke with a bit of hesitation. Do you really think so? I nodded. Our 5-year agreement has also expired. Do you want to divorce me? If you want, let's find a time to handle the divorce procedures. Yanagi Kiyomi's voice was very soft, yet carried a provocative tone, as if certain that I wouldn't be willing to get a divorce. I was currently using a piece of deer-hide velvet cloth, carefully wiping a blue and white porcelain vase. Hearing this, the movement of my hand only paused for a second. Sure, any time. I raised my head, showing her a brilliant smile. Her breathing missed a beat, and her crossed legs unconsciously stopped swinging. I was all too familiar with this subtle movement. Married for 5 years, whenever she was extremely anxious or agitated, those pair of long legs wrapped in black stockings would tremble uncontrollably like this. Today she had been trembling non-stop. Since the morning, I had long guessed that Akisho's return to the country was meant to put an end to our cooperation. It's that simple? She seemed unable to believe it, as the expected clingy reluctance and even rolling on the floor throwing a tantrum were all non-existent. There was only this crisp and neat, sure, like a heavy punch hitting the cotton of all the defenses she had already prepared. Otherwise? I set down the wiped vase and placed it back in its original spot. An agreement is an agreement. 5 years is up. We part ways. President Yanagi, you didn't think I fell in love with you, did you? If I love anything, it's your money. She forced herself to hold on to the last bit of her CEO demeanor, but her voice was a little weak. I will pay you the remaining 1 million according to the agreement, and give you an extra 1 million as compensation. No need, I interrupted her. Walked to the side of the sofa, picked up my coat and put it on. Just follow the contract. 5 years at 1 million a year. You've already paid 4 million. Once the final balance is cleared, we owe each other nothing. I clearly drew the boundary, placing the transaction in front of her. This business-like attitude made her feel more uncomfortable than any crying or making a scene. An unprecedented sense of losing control surged into her heart. She looked at me, her nominal husband, the man who had taken care of her daily life meticulously for the past 5 years, realizing for the first time that she knew nothing about me. Although I, Kimura, am poor, I haven't reached the point of getting rich through divorce. I adjusted my collar, my tone calm, without a single wave. Thank you, President Yanagi, for keeping me for these 5 years, allowing me to struggle 30 years less. I bowed to her, carrying a trace of banter. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Once you decide the time for the procedures, just notify me. I turned around and walked towards the door with large strides, without the slightest lingering attachment. Behind me was dead silence. I could feel that cold gaze fixed on my back the whole time, until I pulled open the front door, shutting out that luxury behind me, before I finally let out a long sigh of relief. 5 years, a whole 5 years, my good days have finally come to an end after all. I looked up at the sky, the glaring sunlight making me squint my eyes, my thoughts involuntarily returning to 5 years ago, that summer that changed my life. The beginning of everything originated from an extremely bizarre recruitment notice. 5 years ago, in the midsummer graduation season, the job fair at the university was bustling with people. Me and our dorm's boss, Tanaka, the second eldest Sato, and the third eldest Takahashi, 4 heads gathered together, worrying over a stack of flyers. Damn it! It either requires 985 or 211, or requires internship experience. A regular university like ours is simply treated like trash. The second eldest, Sato, grabbed his hair in annoyance. If it really doesn't work, I'll just go home and inherit my dad's convenience store. Tanaka had a face full of despair. Right at this moment, an out-of-place recruitment notice, like a strange flower blooming in a garbage dump, instantly drew everyone's attention. The printing was extremely crude, without even a company logo. Job position, personal assistant, but the requirements were outrageously shocking. 1. Gender must be male, height over 180 centimeters, good-looking, knows how to cook, in good health, must be on call at all times. Remaining requirements to be discussed in person. Salary, $1 million per year. The four of us looked at each other and then burst into earth-shattering laughter. Holy crap, what kind of shady company is this coming to scam us pure male college students? Sato laughed until tears came out. $1 million annual salary, and also requires being good-looking and cooking. Is this hiring a personal assistant or hiring a live-in son-in-law? Tanaka snatched the flyer away, flipping it back and forth to look. Takahashi pushed his glasses. A scam for sure. If not harvesting organs, then it's an MLM, specifically scamming people like us without social experience. However, I snatched the paper, saying half-jokingly, "What if it's some rich lady looking for fun? Brothers, shall we charge? If we get favored by a rich lady, we can struggle 30 years less." "Fourth brother, are you crazy? What if they really harvest organs?" "What's there to be afraid of? The four of us going together will make the rich lady super happy," I teased. Adopting the mindset of wanting to watch the show and that 4 people are safer than 1 person, the 4 of us in the dorm, spirited and full of energy, went together according to the address left on the flyer to brave the dragon's lair and tiger's den. The interview location, a private room in a high-end Western restaurant, which made us even more certain it was a scam. However, the interview process was unusually formal. A man wearing gold-rimmed glasses who looked very refined received us, only asking about basic situations and life skills, especially asking in detail about each of our cooking skills. Compared to my 3 roommates who could only cook instant noodles, my cooking skills, cultivated since childhood by my dad who graduated from a culinary school, were simply a dimensional strike. A few days later, when the roommates all thought this matter had blown over, a call came from an unfamiliar number. The caller was precisely that gold-rimmed glasses man. "Mr. Kimura, congratulations on passing the initial interview. Please come to the Peony Room of Lanting Building Restaurant tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the re-interview." Hanging up the phone, the entire dorm exploded. "Holy crap, fourth brother, you really got chosen?" "I said it was a scam. They're after your organs." "Fourth brother, you absolutely cannot go. Let's call the police." The roommates were even more nervous than me. Looking at their genuine concern, my heart felt warm, but I still decided to go. Not for anything else, just because the other party was too proactive and I didn't know how to reject people. However, I kept an eye out. Before going, I sent the interview location and time to my best brother Sato. "If I haven't sent you a message by 10 o'clock, call the police." This was the last insurance policy I set for myself. The next evening, I arrived at Lanting Building Restaurant as agreed. This was a top-tier Chinese restaurant with antique decor, every brick and tile oozing the word expensive. After I reported the name of the Peony Room, a waitress wearing a cheongsam respectfully led me to the door of the private room. Pushing open the heavy wooden door, there was no gold-rimmed glasses man in the private room, only a woman. She was sitting in front of a rosewood round table with her back to me, brewing tea, dressed in a well-tailored white suit, long black hair casually tied behind her head, revealing a section of a swan-like fair and elegant neck. Just a view from behind was enough to make one's heart sway. Hearing the door open, she turned around. In that instant, I felt the lights in the entire private room dim, so beautiful it was suffocating. Her temperament, as cold as an iceberg. She introduced herself. Her name was Yanagi Kiyomi. I only felt that this woman was like someone who stepped out of a painting, untainted by the mortal world. Seeing me without any expression on her face, she used those cold eyes to look me up and down, then pointed to the chair opposite. "Sit." Her voice was as icy as her person. I sat down somewhat anxiously, my heart drumming. This setup was much more formal than I had imagined. "Kimura," she spoke, her voice without a trace of warmth. "It's me. I want to marry you." I had just picked up the teacup, wanting to take a sip of water to calm my nerves, when I was directly choked violently by her opening thunderous words, petrified on the spot, my mind buzzing. My first reaction was a new form of Badger game scam, tricking me to a high-end restaurant. Then a beauty comes over saying she wants to marry me, and next, wouldn't a few burly men rush out saying I molested his wife and then extort a sum from me? Everything on me added up was only a few hundred yen. Yanagi Kiyomi seemed to see through my thoughts, a trace of impatience flashing across her face. She took out a document from an exquisite leather bag beside her and pushed it in front of me. "Take a look." I tremblingly picked up that document, 4 big words prominently written on the cover. Prenuptial agreement. I opened the agreement and read it carefully. 5 years agreement marriage, paying her husband, annual salary of 1 million plus 500,000 signing fee, no interference in private life, peaceful divorce after 5 years. The agreement even detailed the obligations required as a husband. 1. In public places, need to play a loving couple, including but not limited to hand-holding, hugging, and other non-intimate physical contact. 2. In front of family, need to show meticulous care for her. 3. Responsible for her daily meals and living, ensuring she can eat healthy and nutritious 3 meals every day. 4. No need to fulfill any substantive marital obligations. Attached at the very end of the agreement was a proof of Yanagi Kiyomi's personal assets, an unusually long string of zeros that completely dazzled a poor student like me who had never even had a 4-digit savings account. Why me? Because you meet all my requirements. Yanagi Kiyomi's answer was concise and to the point. Height 185 centimeters, good-looking, looks very healthy, knows how to cook, and most importantly, out of the 4 of you who came. In one sentence, she stripped me down to my underwear. During these 5 years, you cannot have any emotional entanglements. After 5 years, we are clear, money and goods both settled. Her initiative and directness made me confirm this was not a scam. Looking at the clear terms on the agreement, looking at her exquisite face, and thinking about my own bleak future, a crazy thought formed in my head. Let's do it. Brothers, if I sign, do I need to start working immediately? I raised my head, pretending to be calm, and asked, "See you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau." After finishing, she stood up, took out a bank card from her leather bag, and placed it on the table. Inside is 500,000 signing fee. The password is 6/8. Tomorrow, after getting the certificate, you can move into my villa. After saying that, stepping in high heels, she left without turning back, leaving me alone, staring at that agreement and that bank card, unable to recover my senses for a long time. I searched the name Yanagi Kiyomi online, didn't know until searching, got shocked upon searching. The sole heir of Yanagi Group, an iceberg CEO worth tens of billions, while I, a poor kid about to graduate, was actually going to become her husband. In the end, I still didn't resist the temptation of money. Plus the beauty, I signed this deed of sale. The next day, carrying a tragic mood as if going to an execution ground, I met with Yanagi Kiyomi at the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau. She was still in a white suit, wearing a pair of sunglasses on her face that could cover half her face, her whole body exuding an aura of keeping strangers away. With both sets of parents completely unaware, we got our marriage certificate in a flash. Exiting the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I had a red booklet in my hand, along with that bank card containing 500,000. Yanagi Kiyomi threw the car key to me. "You drive!" Then she sat in the passenger seat on her own, closing her eyes to rest her mind. Looking at that Bentley car key in my hand, as someone who almost didn't even pass his driver's license test, the first car I drove in my life was actually a Bentley. I carefully drove the car back to school. Yanagi Kiyomi gave me a day's time to handle the dorm. When I returned to the dorm, Tanaka, Sato, and Takahashi were gathered around playing games. Without a word, I slammed the red booklet and that 500,000 bank card onto the table with a loud slap, and the eyes of the 3 swiveled over together. "Fourth brother, what are you doing? Want to show off your meal card balance to us?" Sato said without even raising his head. "Open your dog eyes and look at what this is." The 3 then reluctantly gathered over, when they clearly saw my photo on the marriage certificate, next to the photo of that incomparably beautiful CEO. The expressions on the 3 people's faces changed from doubt to shock to petrified, and finally their jaws almost dropped. Sato snatched the marriage certificate, flipping it back and forth. Holy crap! Real steel stamp! After 3 seconds, an earth-shattering wailing erupted. Holy crap, fourth brother, you really got kept by a rich lady? Is this a real marriage certificate? 500,000, this is fucking selling yourself money. The dorm completely exploded, the three surrounding me asking all at once, why you? We clearly all went, why did the rich lady only fall for you? Fourth brother, do you have some special skill hidden from us? Can you spin tires too? Quick say, did you give the rich lady a confusion potion? I cleared my throat, looking at the three of them with a smirk. Well, I specifically asked for you guys. I said, pretending to be deep. My wife said you guys look too ugly. As soon as the words fell, an earth-shattering wailing erupted in the dorm again. Fuck! Fourth brother, you've changed? You weren't like this before? Brothers, beat him up! The three instantly pounced over, pressing me onto the bed and carrying out an inhumane group beating. Amidst the cheerful sounds of laughter and messing around, I felt all the brotherhood accumulated over these 4 years disappeared at this very moment. All right, stop messing around. I struggled out of the crowd and loudly announced, disaster averted by spending money. Tonight, my treat, order anything you want at the most expensive place. Consider it our farewell meal. That's more like it. Fourth brother is generous. We must give you a big hit. That night, the four of us ordered a table of the most expensive dishes at the most luxurious food stall near the school. We drank a lot of alcohol, talked a lot about the past, and talked a lot about the future. Tanaka said he still decided to go home and inherit the convenience store, but he wanted to turn it into the hottest convenience store in town. Sato said he was going to take the graduate entrance exam and become a university professor in the future. Takahashi said he was going to the metropolis to give it a shot. He definitely had to make a name for himself. Only my life for the next 5 years had been arranged crystal clear by an agreement. I raised my wine glass to toast this fucking reality and also to toast my upcoming 5-year career as a live-in son-in-law in a wealthy family. This meal we ate until late at night. On the way back to the dorm, the three of them were staggering around drunk, arm in arm, singing the out-of-tune Friends. I followed behind them, looking at their swaying backs, my heart filled with mixed emotions. After tomorrow, we would go our separate ways, and I would walk into a completely unfamiliar world, playing a role that didn't belong to me. Whether the road ahead was a smooth path or an abyss, I knew nothing about it. 5 years flew by in a flash. From a green university graduate, I turned into a qualified house husband. I dutifully played the role of Yanagi Kiyomi's husband, taking care of her daily life meticulously. My cooking skills improved day by day, mastering Chinese, Western, and the 8 major cuisines, even learning how to brew various healthy soups. I also learned massage and acupressure. Whenever she was tired from work, I could use my exquisite techniques to relieve her fatigue. When she was sick, uncomfortable, and throwing up violently, it was also me staying by the bedside serving tea and pouring water, washing her dirty personal clothes with filth without a single complaint. Our relationship was closer than employer and employee, more intimate than friends, yet there was always a paper window between us that couldn't be poked through. Sleeping under the same roof but sleeping in separate rooms, we were the closest married couple legally, yet the most familiar strangers in life. I thought this kind of life would continue for a long time. Anyway, I had already gotten used to it, until the news of Akasho wanting to return to the country broke this tranquility. Yanagi Kiyomi started to become very strange, extremely uneasy and anxious every day, and the number of times she asked me to give her massages was more than before. I knew that I, this substitute, was finally going to retire after accomplishing my mission. So when she said she wanted a divorce, I wasn't surprised at all, and even felt a trace of relief. Only I didn't expect that after I readily agreed, the development of things began to derail in a direction I couldn't predict. She started using various lame excuses to delay the time for handling the divorce procedures, and I, who had already rented a house outside, was dragged back by her, dragged back by the ears. Then it was either the company had an important meeting to attend, or this week's schedule was already fully booked. And today she directly called, ordering me in a tone that allowed no argument. Accompany me out tonight to meet a friend. What friend? I was in the kitchen preparing dinner, with flour still on my hands. Don't ask so much, you'll know when the time comes. I roughly knew in my heart who this friend was. Could guess it with my toes. Wasn't it just that white moonlight Akisho she had been longing for years? Is this going to yield the position to the real owner? And by the way, pull me, this ex-husband, along to play a scene of "we are very loving now, don't come bother us again"? Or did she want me to see with my own eyes how much of a match she and her white moonlight were, so that I would completely give up hope? Whichever one it was disgusting enough. Not going! I directly refused. Kimura, don't forget our agreement hasn't officially ended. Before getting the last sum of money, you are still my employee. Huh, I laughed. President Yanagi, are you threatening me? Don't forget it's you who keeps not getting the divorce. Silence lasted on the other end of the phone for a long time before she said in an almost begging tone, Kimura, consider it me begging you one last time to accompany me. This time, her voice carried a trace of fragility I had never heard before. For some reason, my heart softened, and I miraculously agreed. At 7 p.m., I drove that familiar Bentley, taking the meticulously dressed-up Yanagi Kiyomi to a top-tier high-end club. At the entrance, I saw that legendary Akisho. He was, indeed, very handsome, wearing a well-tailored Armani suit, with a priceless Patek Philippe on his wrist, exuding the superiority of a noble family offspring in every gesture. Seeing Yanagi Kiyomi, his eyes lit up, and a gentle, refined smile appeared on his face. Kiyomi, you're finally here! I've been waiting for you for a long time! His gaze, upon seeing me get down from the driver's seat, became scrutinizing and hostile. Yanagi Kiyomi acted very unnatural, subconsciously taking hold of my arm. Akisho, let me introduce you. This is Kimura. When she introduced me, her voice was a bit dry. The smile on Akisho's face stiffened for a second, but quickly returned to normal. Kiyomi, I really didn't expect you to be married. Mr. Kimura, nice to meet you. He reached his hand out to me, smiling with deep meaning. At the banquet, Akisho acted like a perfect host, constantly picking up food for me and Yanagi Kiyomi. His words filled with concern and familiarity towards Yanagi Kiyomi. Kiyomi, you still don't like eating cilantro just like before. Kiyomi, try this steamed sea bass, your favorite. Kiyomi, we haven't seen each other for so many years. You haven't changed at all. Still so beautiful. Every word of his didn't leave his and Yanagi Kiyomi's past, as if quietly declaring sovereignty, while I was like an extra outsider, awkwardly sitting there watching them put on the scene of old friends reuniting. Yanagi Kiyomi wanted to speak several times, but was blocked back by Akisho with jokes. Mr. Kimura, don't just watch, eat the food, eat the food. Akisho finally turned his gaze to me. I heard from Kiyomi that Mr. Kimura is a freelancer? He asked, seemingly casually. Sort of, I said concisely. Then it must be very hard, right? He smiled like a fox. Unlike me, who is just a little rich second generation waiting around to die. Saying that, he raised his wine glass. Mr. Kimura, I toast a glass to you. Thank you for taking care of Kiyomi for me these past few years. This sentence was filled with naked provocation. Before I could react, Yanagi Kiyomi pressed my hand down. Akisho, his alcohol tolerance is bad. He can't drink. Is that so? Akisho raised an eyebrow. How can a man not know how to drink? Mr. Kimura, you can't be like this. How are you going to entertain outside and protect Kiyomi in the future? He kept saying, protect Kiyomi, in every sentence, as if slapping me in the face. Speechless in my heart, it seemed my tool-person mission was really coming to an end. Yanagi Kiyomi calling me over, in name was accompaniment, but in reality was acquiescence for Akisho to give me a show of force. Good, very good. I picked up the wine glass and drank it in one gulp. Mr. Akisho is right. I put down the wine glass, wiped the corner of my mouth. A man should indeed know how to drink. Saying that, I picked up the mutai on the table, pouring myself a full glass. However, my alcohol is only drunk with people who are worth it. I raised the wine glass, shook it at him, and then drank it in one gulp. Akisho's face instantly changed. Yanagi Kiyomi was stunned as well. The subsequent banquet completely turned into a battlefield between me and Akisho. He one glass, me one glass, neither willing to admit defeat. I noticed something was off, although Yanagi Kiyomi didn't stop it anymore. Her eyes became more and more complex, looking at me drinking glass after glass. Her face grew paler and paler, yet her eyes became more and more complex. Instead of stopping it, she said to Akisho, "Akisho, don't humor him anymore. His alcohol tolerance is bad." These words sounded like concern, but actually made me even more speechless. I suddenly realized that drinking alcohol was just harming myself. I feigned being unable to handle the alcohol, my eyes starting to blur, my body swaying around. I didn't want to drink so much alcohol to hurt my body. In the future, my body belongs to myself. "Ah, Mr. Kimura seems drunk." Akisho saw me fall over, revealing a triumphant smile, saying to Yanagi Kiyomi, "Kiyomi, this kid is nothing special after all." The contempt in his words was unabashed. Yanagi Kiyomi's expression was very complex, with guilt, but more of a desperate resolution. Supporting the dead drunk me, she said to Akisho, "Thank you for helping me, I'll send him back first." Returning to the villa, Yanagi Kiyomi laboriously supported me to the bed. With my eyes closed, I could clearly feel that she hesitated by the bedside for a long time, and even heard her subtle sigh. In the dark, I heard a slight click sound, the sound of a phone unlocking. My mind jolted. The worst guess was that she didn't want me to get the money. Yanagi Kiyomi took a deep breath and actually reached out to start unbuttoning my shirt buttons. She wanted to take photos, using this despicable way to create an established fact to put me in jail. This was the fastest answer I could think of. Just as she raised the phone, aiming at me preparing to take a photo, my hand grabbed her wrist. I snapped my eyes open, my gaze clear and sharp. Where was there even half a bit of drunkenness? "Weren't you drunk?" Yanagi Kiyomi was panicked and flustered, the phone dropping onto the bed. I slowly sat up, my voice icy cold to the bone. "How would I dare get drunk? President Yanagi? Are you two setting a trap for me? Playing a Badger game scam? Wanting to eat me up until not even bones are left?" "No, it's not what you think." Facing my interrogation, Yanagi Kiyomi completely panicked, explaining incoherently, I just didn't want you to leave so fast." "Didn't want me to leave, so you use this kind of low-class means?" I sneered, throwing off her hand and standing up. A few shirt buttons unbuttoned, revealing my firm chest, which at this moment appeared extremely ironic. "You and your Akisho joined hands to pour me alcohol. Wasn't it just to make me lose face so you could legitimately propose a divorce and, by the way, pay me less money?" "No!" She was pierced pale by my words, eagerly defending herself. "Last time taking me to see Akisho to give me a show of force. I had already endured enough." "No. Calling you last time was because, having not seen him for so long, I didn't trust him. I needed a person I trusted by my side. That's why I called you. I didn't mean to give you a show of force. Setting a trap for you this time was my fault, but I really—" Her voice became smaller and smaller, carrying a crying tone. "I don't know if I'm not used to it, or if I fell in love with you. I'm not used to your changes." She hesitated, speaking out her inner thoughts intermittently. "I don't want to know," I interrupted her resolutely. I stepped closer to her step by step until pressing her to the corner. "President Yanagi, don't think about clinging to me. We haven't slept together. Me rubbing your feet, massaging your shoulders and back, those were all required for me to do. Washing your innerwear and undergarments, that was because you were sick and uncomfortable, required by you for me to do." Unsparingly, I tore open all false warmth, letting her see clearly the naked transactional relationship between us. "I only like your money, don't misunderstand." Leaning against the cold wall, she seemed to be thinking, "You go live well with your Akisho, don't drag me in anymore." I took a step back, pulling distance from her. "Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. See you at the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau. If you dare play any more tricks, I don't mind telling your parents about our 5-year agreement. Anyway, you don't want your parents knowing about this matter, right? You don't want your parents knowing I'm not a real, but fake son-in-law, yet was so intimate with you, right?" The next day, she didn't delay anymore, and we silently handled the divorce procedures. Upon receiving that divorce certificate, I felt the mountain pressed on my heart for this past month was finally moved away. My whole body felt light, relaxed, like never before. Looking at my relieved appearance, the light in Yanagi Kiyomi's eyes dimmed bit by bit. Walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, she called out to me, "Wait!" She took out a check from her bag and handed it to me. "This is for you." I glanced at the number on it. 1 million yen, 1 million yen more than in the agreement. What does this mean? Guilt? Just consider it severance pay. Her voice was very low. I didn't refuse again. Refusing would be an idiot. Taking the check, I didn't even look at her face much. What I looked at was her chest, a very surging momentum. "Thank you, President Yanagi, for the severance pay. From now on, mountains high and rivers long, we owe each other nothing." Holding this money, I didn't go squandering, nor did I go traveling. The first thing I did was return to my hometown. I gave 500,000 to my parents, telling them this was money I saved over these past few years. With the remaining money, I took over a storefront on the most bustling food street in our city. I wanted to open a restaurant belonging to myself, to start a life truly belonging to myself. A year later, on a food street in the city, a private kitchen restaurant named Haruki's Taste quietly opened, the owner and head chef being precisely me. I turned the top-tier cooking skills honed at Yanagi Kiyomi's into the starting point of my own career. No grand opening ceremony, nor overwhelming publicity, I just quietly made my best dishes. But good wine fears no deep alley, relying on real materials and unique flavors. The small restaurant's business quickly blew up, with an excellent reputation, even attracting many food bloggers to visit and explore the shop. Busy from morning till night every day, although tired, my heart was fulfilled and peaceful like never before. This sense of accomplishment fought for with my own hands was something that 5 million selling myself money could never give me. Later, besides me and other staff in the shop, a special clerk arrived, a girl named Shen Yu. She was a student at a nearby university, with a pure and sweet appearance, tying a high ponytail, her face always wearing a sunny smile. She worked here while studying, acting smartly and neatly, enduring hardship and hard work, never complaining about pain or fatigue. Heard she was a college student who walked out of the big mountains. Her family very poor, which could also be seen usually, her head always down, not daring to look up. Luckily, her chest was big enough to bury her head, acting submissively as well, speaking softly, making one feel a strong desire to protect her. I took good care of her, allowing her to flexibly arrange work according to her class schedule. Just because she looked good, and I like this type, I'm just a vulgar person. Sometimes when her class finished late, I would even specially reserve food for her. Shen Yu was also full of admiration and affection towards me, always calling boss, boss, nonstop, her voice sweet like smeared with honey. She said I was the handsomest and best cooking boss she had ever seen. I always smiled and rubbed her hair, saying her little mouth was really sweet. One evening when the shop was about to close, I saw Shen Yu squatting alone in the back alley, secretly wiping tears. Walking over, I found out she spilled dishes today while serving and was fined by the manager. I didn't say anything, just quietly walked into the kitchen, cooked her a bowl of hot plain noodles, and poached 2 eggs. Quickly eat, only when full will you have strength to be ravaged by life. I won't deduct your money, that's all. I served the noodles in front of her. Shen Yu looked at the 2 plump poached eggs in the bowl, her tears falling even harder, but inside it felt warm. Crying while slurping the noodles loudly after finishing, she raised her head, her eyes red, and said to me, "Boss, you are so good." "Silly girl," I smiled, pulling out a tissue to help her wipe the soup off the corner of her mouth. The atmosphere between us inadvertently became a bit subtle. And all of this was completely taken in by a woman wearing sunglasses and a mask sitting in the corner of the restaurant. Almost every day, she would come to order the same few dishes, sitting in the same spot for a long time. She never spoke and never bothered me. But I knew who she was. After all, my massaging hands had measured her body. She just quietly watched my busy figure. Today, she saw me show a gentleness to another girl that she had never seen before, her hand placed under the table unconsciously clenched tight. The alarm in Yanagi Kiyomi's heart was completely set off. Seeing that natural and intimate interaction between me and Shen Yu, a strong jealousy and panic that she had never obtained, even with money in 5 years, time gripped her heart like a poisonous snake. She couldn't wait any longer. She knew my mom, Sato Hideko, had always been nagging me to get married, so she used her connections to indirectly find a good friend of her mother's, who was also my mom's mahjong partner, arranging a coincidental blind date. On the weekend, I was summoned home by a series of life-threatening calls from my mom. "Son, Mom found a good girl for you. You must go meet her today." "Not going? I'm super busy in the shop right now." "Don't you dare," my mom roared over the phone. "I'm telling you, Kimura, if you don't go today, you're no longer my son." Unable to win against her soft and hard tactics of nagging plus threats and promises, I had to agree to meet once. Mom was still on the phone, endlessly praising how good and outstanding that girl was, graduated from a prestigious university, ran her own company, good family background, good character, and beautiful. I let it go in one ear and out the other, only thinking of getting it over with quickly so I could return to the shop. When I arrived at that high-end cafe, according to the address my mom gave me, and saw that familiar yet unfamiliar figure sitting by the window, I almost thought I had walked into the wrong place. Yanagi Kiyomi! Today she wore a beige dress with light makeup, looking a bit less sharp and a bit more gentle than before. Seeing me, she stood up a bit nervously. "Kimura, you're here." I sat down opposite her with an expressionless face, getting straight to the point. "President Yanagi, what is the meaning of this?" "Kimura, Before she could finish her sentence, I directly stood up. "Sorry, I still have things to do at the shop. I'll take my leave first." I didn't want to have any more entanglements with her. This ridiculous blind date declared its end less than 1 minute after it started. I thought this matter had passed just like that, but I obviously underestimated Yanagi Kiyomi's determination. The next day, she actually directly carried large and small bags of expensive gifts and paid a visit to my home. My mom, Sato Hideko, seeing those birds' nests, sea cucumbers, and cordyceps, her eyes went straight. Seeing Yanagi Kiyomi speaking elegantly, generous with money, she was even more overwhelmingly satisfied with her, recognizing this future daughter-in-law on the spot. "Auntie, I like your family's Kimura. This is a little hard for me, for you and uncle." "Ah, yeah, you child. Just coming is fine. Why bring things? Too polite." My mom warmly held Yanagi Kiyomi's hand, asking after her health, completely leaving me, her real son, out in the cold. Over the next few days, Yanagi Kiyomi ran to my home every day, either accompanying my mom to go shopping for groceries or playing chess and drinking tea with my dad, turning my parents around until she already considered herself the mistress of this house. My mom was even constantly nagging in my ear every day. "Little Kimura, Kiyomi is such a good girl. You have to seize the chance. Once this opportunity passes, it's gone." I finally reached the limit of my patience. On an evening when Yanagi Kiyomi came to my house again to show off her attentiveness, in front of my mom, I laid my cards on the table. "Mom, don't waste your efforts." I pointed at Yanagi Kiyomi, who was busy in the kitchen, and said to my mom, "She's your ex-daughter-in-law. We're already divorced." My mom was stunned on the spot. She looked at me and then looked at Yanagi Kiyomi, the smile on her face freezing bit by bit. "Don't be anxious." A surge of rage rushed to her head. She turned around and grabbed that feather duster from the corner that had been used for many years, chasing me all around the house to beat me. "You foolish boy. You spendthrift. Such a good daughter-in-law, and you didn't cherish her properly, even getting a divorce with her. Now she comes back looking for you, and you're putting on airs for me. Beat you to death, you ungrateful thing." Yanagi Kiyomi tried to break up the fight from the side, holding my mom back while looking at me with an aggrieved and innocent gaze. "Auntie, don't hit Kimura. It's all my fault. I failed to manage our marriage properly." Her White Lotus appearance of advancing by retreating made my mom feel extremely pained for her. My mom threw away the feather duster at once, held Yanagi Kiyomi's hand, and said with heartache, "Good child, it's not your fault. It's all my fault for not educating this rotten boy well." She completely stood on Yanagi Kiyomi's side, treating me like a heinous sinner. Looking at this ridiculous farce in front of me, I only felt a sense of powerlessness. I was trapped by my mother and my ghost that won't depart ex-wife together in this cage named affection and guilt. Akisho found that Yanagi Kiyomi was getting colder and colder towards him, instead running to my tiny broken shop every day, his jealousy completely exploding. He probably felt that I was the only obstacle between them. On this day, he brought 2 bodyguard-like subordinates and arrived aggressively at Haruki's taste. It was peak mealtime, the shop packed to capacity. As soon as he entered, he sat brazenly, right in the middle position, crossing his legs looking like a big lord. He intentionally looked for trouble, either saying the table wasn't wiped clean or saying the tea wasn't hot enough. When Shen Yuyu went to serve him, "Waiter, why is there a hair in this dish of yours? You just dropped it in, I saw it!" Akisho suddenly shouted loudly, slamming a plate of freshly served shredded pork with garlic sauce onto the ground. The crisp sound of the plate shattering made the entire restaurant instantly fall quiet, everyone's eyes focusing right here. The person responsible for serving the dish was precisely Shen Yuyu. Terrified by this sudden turn of events, her little face turned pale, hurriedly apologizing. "Sorry, sir, sorry. I'll change a plate for you right away." Change a plate? Easy for you to say. I'm very hungry now. Akisho wouldn't let it go, pointing at her nose and cursing. "This hair was put in by you, right? The hygiene in your shop is way too poor. If you don't give me an explanation today, I won't let your shop keep running." His voice was very loud, his words extremely unpleasant to hear. Shen Yuyu, a young girl with little experience of the world, where had she ever seen such a scene? Scared until the rims of her eyes turned red, bowing and apologizing non-stop. One of Akisho's subordinates even wanted to shove her physically. I couldn't watch any longer. I rushed out from the back kitchen, shielding Shen Yuyu behind me, while calmly pulling out my phone and dialing the police. If you have something to say, speak. Don't put your hands on people. I looked at Akisho coldly. "Yo, the boss finally came out?" Seeing me, a sinister smile appeared on Akisho's face, incensed by my composure. He swung a fist right towards my face. Knowing I couldn't beat the three of them and hard fighting would only lead to a loss, I didn't hit back, taking his punch squarely. The corner of my mouth instantly tasted sweet, seeing blood. "Boss!" Shen Yuyu cried out, wanting to come forward to support me, but was stopped by another bodyguard. Just as Akisho was about to strike again, an angry roar came from the entrance. "Stop!" Yanagi Kiyomi walked in. Seeing the injury at the corner of my mouth, she was extremely unhappy. Without a word, she walked up to Akisho, raised her hand, and slapped him hard across the face. Slap! The crisp sound of the slap echoed through the whole restaurant, everyone stunned. Akisho was also dazed by this slap, clutching his face, looking at Yanagi Kiyomi in shock and anger. "Kiyomi, you hit me for him. Get out!" Yanagi Kiyomi pointed at him, her voice icy cold without temperature. "I warn you, Akisho, if you dare come here again to make trouble, I'll make your whole family business shrink to nothing." Intimidated by her momentum, Akisho ended up sulkily leaving with his people, after all. Peace was restored in the restaurant. Feeling heartache, Yanagi Kiyomi wanted to touch my face to check my injury. "I'm fine, thank you, President Yanagi, for your concern." Yet I calmly dodged, her outstretched hand freezing awkwardly in midair. "Sorry, it's my fault, he won't come again." I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth, looking at her with distant eyes. "President Yanagi really is so good to your white moonlight. He causes trouble and you come settle it for him?" My words carried unabashed irony. Listening to my thorny words, Yanagi Kiyomi's heart ached, hurriedly explaining, "You know I don't like him anymore. What I couldn't get when I was young I felt was a fantasy. Now I feel he doesn't deserve me at all." Her voice was filled with urgency and grievance. She looked at me, her eyes carrying entreaty. "Those few years married to you before, I just infinitely idealized him in my heart. It was my fault. Will you talk to me, please? Can we go back to how things were at the beginning?" "Go back to the beginning? Aren't we better now than at the beginning?" Yanagi Kiyomi was stunned, and I continued. "At the beginning, we were employer and employee in a transactional relationship. Now don't we count as friends? You come every day to support my business. Aren't the two of us better than when we were unfamiliar before?" The word, friends, was like a dull knife repeatedly carving into her heart. Yeah, we're friends now. But what she wanted was never to be friends. She smiled bitterly. "Right, we're friends now." The police quickly arrived. When I went to make the statement, I only said it was a common customer dispute, not digging deeper. I didn't want to have any more entanglements with Yanagi Kiyomi and past events. In the evening, after closing the shop, Shen Yuyu, her eyes red, helped me treat the wound at the corner of my mouth, blaming herself nonstop. "Boss, sorry. It's all because of me." "Silly girl, what does it have to do with you?" I smiled and interrupted her. "It's a mad dog biting people wildly. Should we blame the passerby?" To put her mind at ease, I even made a joke. "Besides, your boss has thick skin. This minor injury will be fine in 2 days." Looking at my pretend, easygoing demeanor, Shen Yuyu's heart fluttered like a deer, gathering her courage to say, "Boss, in the future, I'll stay in your shop forever to earn medicine fees for you." I was amused by her words, the atmosphere in the shop becoming warm once again. And all of this was seen by Yanagi Kiyomi, who had lingered without leaving. Back in the car, the window glass reflected her lonely and jealous face. Friends? How could it be possible for her and me to just be friends? A few months later, Yanagi Kiyomi came to the shop again as usual. This time, she brought me news. "You don't need to worry about Akisho anymore. His family collapsed." She narrated calmly. Akisho was originally an unlearned, useless bumpkin, relying entirely on his family to hold him up. Recently, his mother, who doted on him, passed away from a sudden heart attack. Family enterprise internal fighting broke out, and it collapsed quickly. Before his mother passed, she transferred the last of the assets abroad to let him run away. Yanagi Kiyomi's tone carried a trace of mockery, but he couldn't keep it. Heard in a villa in the US, he was robbed by 5 men, shot dead on the spot, and because he was too pale, he was even picked up as a corpse. After listening, my heart was completely calm. That once high and mighty Akisho, who treated me like an ant, ended his story so dramatically. The last barrier between me and Yanagi Kiyomi also disappeared in this absurd way. After this incident, my life completely returned to peace, and my relationship with Shen Yuyu got closer and closer. Although neither of us poked through that layer of paper, the other employees in the shop could see the clues, often making jokes about us. Even my mom, Sato Hideko, gave up on playing matchmaker between me and Yanagi Kiyomi. Yanagi Kiyomi became her goddaughter, and I gained another big sister. Mom saw that my heart was no longer on my ex-wife Yanagi Kiyomi, so she started indirectly asking me about Shen Yuyu's situation. On an ordinary night after the shop closed, only me and Shen Yuyu were left. I was at the counter, carefully calculating the day's accounts. Shen Yuyu looked at my side profile lit up so gently by the desk lamp, suddenly saying in a soft voice, "Boss, you seem to have fallen in love with me, right?" My hand calculating the accounts paused, raising my head to meet her bashful yet sincere gaze. I put down the pen, walked in front of her, reached out and gently tapped her forehead. "What silly words are you saying?" "Seem to?" I looked at her with amusement in my eyes. Remove the words "seem to." A year later, my Haruki's Taste opened its first branch in the most bustling area of the city center. On opening day, guests filled the doors, exceptionally lively. Shen Yuyu had already become my public girlfriend, wearing a white dress I specially chose for her, busying around in the shop like a little boss lady, her face brimming with a happy smile. My parents and roommates all came too, seeing me currently successful in career and sweet in love, all sincerely feeling happy for me. Just at this moment, a commotion broke out at the door. A row of uniformed black luxury cars parked at the shop entrance, making passing pedestrians turn their heads to look. Yanagi Kiyomi, wearing a pair of high heels that looked expensive, stepped down from the lead Rolls-Royce. The presence was maxed out. O'Day, she wore a purple long dress, elegant and noble, full aura activated. She brought many friends to support the event, the scale grand, instantly becoming the focus of the whole venue. "Boss Kimura, congratulations on the new shop opening. May business be prosperous." She walked up to me smilingly, handing over a thick red envelope. I didn't accept it. "Sister, you're being too polite. You coming is already giving me the greatest honor." I was politely distant. "My good younger brother is opening a shop. I, as your sister, definitely have to come." She wasn't awkward either, naturally taking back her hand. Not long after, she pulled me to a quiet corner outside the shop, her expression one of unprecedented seriousness and fragility. "Kimura, I regret it." Her voice carried a tremble. "Tell me, in those past 5 years, did you ever love me even just a little bit?" She looked at me with an almost begging gaze, as if waiting for an answer of redemption. Looking at her, I remained silent for a long time, eventually still nodding honestly. I did. In that enclosed world, with only the two of us getting along day after day, saying I was completely unmoved would be a lie. I don't know if I lusted after her money or lusted after her looks, or perhaps both. Maybe I really did like her, only that liking was too humble and too fragile, worn away completely by reality and self-esteem. Hearing this answer, Yanagi Kiyomi smiled, yet tears welled in her eyes. Then let's get back together. She grabbed my hand like grabbing the last life-saving straw. I can give you better, 10,000 times better than this small shop. Yet I shook my head, gently breaking free from her hand, my smile a bit bitter. President Yanagi, missing out means missing out. The two of us were never people from the same world. I am very grateful to you for letting my life jump up a few classes, but I still cannot reach your level. Us being together will only make each other feel miserable. Looking at her, I stated the most fundamental problem between us, word by word. And even if I am poor, as a man, I do not allow my existence to be someone else's substitute, and our beginning originated from this name. Sorry, in my heart it would feel miserable, there would be a barrier. My refusal was clear and decisive, completely shattering her last fantasy. She knew everything was beyond repair. Taking a deep breath, she pointed at that girl inside the shop, smiling like a flower at the customers, asking, "Do you like her now?" "Yes." My answer had no hesitation whatsoever. My eyes filled with love and affirmation for Shen Yuyu. Looking at my firm eyes, Yanagi Kiyomi suddenly laughed with relief, a smile that was brilliant yet carried endless desolation. "Very good, very good." Reorganizing her emotions, she restored that high and mighty female CEO look. "Rest assured, I will continue to take care of your business." Before leaving, she said again, as if joking, "I want to see how far you two can go. What if it's not suitable? Doesn't sister here still have a chance?" After saying that, she turned around coolly, got into that Rolls-Royce, and drove away without looking back. Looking at her receding car shadow, my heart was filled with mixed feelings. I knew this entanglement that lasted for several years finally drew a real full stop today. Turning around to walk back into the shop, looking at that girl busy for my sake, my heart was filled with unprecedented stability and happiness. The past has passed, the future has just begun. The busyness of opening day continued until late at night. After seeing off the last batch of customers, me and Shen Yuyu started cleaning up the shop together. I noticed Shen Yuyu's mood today was exceptionally good. Humming a song while wiping tables, the smile on her face never stopping. Walking over from behind, I gently hugged her, my chin resting on the top of her head, softly asking, "Why are you so happy today?" Shen Yuyu turned around, raising her little face to look at me, her eyes sparkling like full of stars. "Because I heard you say you like me." I froze for a moment, then burst out laughing, pinching her nose. "Little ears are pretty sharp." Shen Yuyu proudly raised her chin, then stood on tiptoes and kissed me heavily on the mouth. Her cheeks flushed red, but her eyes were incomparably serious. Looking into my eyes, she used a voice filled with expectation and happiness to say, "Kimura, when I graduate, I'll come be your boss lady, all right?" The city lights outside the window were brilliant. The lights inside the shop warm and soft. Looking at this girl in front of me, whose eyes were entirely filled with me, I nodded vigorously, hugging her tightly into my arms, softly answering, "All right." The good days passed like this. Shen Yuyu closed her eyes, became the boss lady, and got the marriage certificate with me. I opened my third branch shop, named Haruki's Taste You. The new shop just opened. Shen Yuyu didn't come to this shop, but familiar people would never be absent. Yanagi Kiyomi still came. After finishing work, it was already 1 a.m., only me and her left in the shop. I walked over to urge her. "My good sister, time to go. Heading home. I'm going to sleep." "Are you going home to sleep too?" "Not going back." "Are you going back to Godmother's house to sleep?" "Yeah!" She smiled slyly, took off the black stocking from her right leg, and casually stuffed it onto my face. "Here you go! The original flavor you wanted." The shop name kept wishing for original flavor, this time giving it to you. Disgusted, I threw the sock away. Stop being playful. Time to close shop and lock up. Yanagi Kiyomi was unconvinced. I bought this shop for you. If you want to close, it needs my consent. It's late. Don't disturb godmother. Go sleep at my place. Not going? Your place is a tiger's den. She rolled an annoyed pair of white eyes, then said, TCH, you went a few days ago too. Wasn't it pretty comfortable? That was because you and I had a fight. Yanagi Kiyomi smirked wickedly and came right up, hugging my waist. It's fine. Before it was fighting and going to my place. Now without fighting, you can go too. Sister here will just be your lover. I don't mind. Sister, you're being improper again. I'm speaking for real, guaranteed to make you live comfortably. If you little kid dare not go, don't even think about wanting this shop. Don't! I'm going. This shop just opened and business is so good. If you want money, then beg me. Sister here has plenty of money. Forget it. I'll use money to beg you. Give it to me.